is there's no purely mechanical system that beats baccarat. That's not an opinion, that's a mathematical fact. Any mathematician worth his salt who studied it will tell you there is no mechanical, purely mechanical system, like, for instance, the time before last. There's no system that beats baccarat. What you need is a mixture of systems to beat baccarat. That there is, we've been in this business since the inception of baccarat in the late 80s, and we're miles ahead of the rest of the baccarat world. In fact, there was one commenting on the forum today, one of the members was commenting today that he's read every baccarat book there is, and he's never seen anything like what we teach. We're way in advance of anything you ever saw before, anything you ever read before. We've been at this for over 30 years. Okay, there's no mechanical system that beats baccarat, and there's also no progression in and of itself that beats baccarat. A system has to have a method of choosing which side you're going to bet, which side to bet, and also how much you're going to bet. It has to have those two elements to even be called a system. In fact, there's a lot of so-called systems on the internet that don't even tell you which side to bet. All they are is a betting progression, and no betting progression can beat baccarat in and of itself. We take all of the baccarat shoes and we divide them into three categories: choppy, neutral, and streaky. Every shoe ever came across the table fits one of those categories: choppy, neutral, or streaky. We have one system for choppy shoes called System 40. We have a second system for neutral shoes called OTB 4L. And we have a system for streaky shoes called System X. And then we have a way called the OR count to tell which category a shoe is in. You can usually tell first 6 or 7 plays. Now, whatever category a shoe starts in, it usually stays in that category. But now, in that case, we do very well in that shoe. But we also do well when we have to switch systems mid-shoe. We'd rather not have to do that. We try to avoid it, but we can handle that. We can handle that. Now, we use a progression called the 1, 2, 3, 4. Most units you ever bet is 4. We by the way, bet less units than just about anybody at the table. We are frequently the lowest bettors at the table, but we frequently win the most units. You see some of these systems on the market that have you making 89 unit bets and stuff like that. Nobody in their right mind would ever make an 89 unit bet. Even when you get into our more advanced systems where we're using an up 1, down 2 progression, we seldom, if ever, bet over 5, maybe once in a blue moon, 6 units. And everybody has the option of never betting more than 2 units. It isn't so much about how much you bet. It's a whole lot more about, we concentrate on which side to bet. The odds of the game say that you'll win 50% of the bets that you make. The game is 50-50, plus commission. Commission is not part of the game. Commission is what you pay the casino to deal the cards. The game itself is 50-50. Now, we try to have a hit rate that's better than 50-50. And we're up at about the 55% category. Well, if you win 55% of your bets on average, you're going to win on average, period. We also, by the way, have a -8 stop loss. And it doesn't mean that you'll always go to -8. It means that you won't make a bet that could take you below -8. So, for instance, if you were at -6 and it was calling for a 3-bet, you would just quit that shoe at -6. To give you an idea, my average losing shoe is only -4. And some of the other guys are in the -5. Some of them are at -4 with me. On the winning side, we keep running records of our wins so that we know how much we're averaging. And we would like to see everybody above +6 for their average, counting their winning shoes and their losing shoes. We'd like to see them averaging at least +6. But some of our members are as high as +10, +12, one even over the last 2 years has been averaging more like +15. And we'll teach you more advanced progressions like up 1, down 1. And we teach you gradually. You know, you get a manual, but that's not really where you do your learning. You do your learning on the forum. When you buy a manual, you also get access to the forum. And that's where we do the real teaching. That's where all the players can talk to one another. They can compare notes. They can post their games. We also play together, by the way, very often. Maybe an average of once a month, once every 2 months, we get together and play somewhere. We usually have a seminar, and after the seminar, we go and play somewhere. We use a vertical scorecard because that gives you the best picture of the game. I got my cursor on the circle under the P. That means player won that hand. Bank won the next hand. Now, whenever the opposite side wins, we call that an opposite. Whenever the same side wins, we call that a repeat. And all of our systems are really constructed of opposites versus repeats. Now, on average, you get just as many, exactly as many opposites in the long run as you do repeats. So the whole idea is to be right more often than you're wrong. And if you're right more often than you're wrong, you're going to win overall. Well, casinos cannot shuffle cards perfectly. Even shuffle machines do not shuffle cards to a random condition. And that sets up a bias in the shoe. The shuffle itself causes biases. And if you've played at all, you've seen streaky shoes. You've probably seen a table that stayed streaky all day. You've probably seen a table that stayed choppy all day. Whatever a particular card color is doing, whatever it did in the last shoe, it's probably going to do the same thing in the next shoe. So we do what we call a table search. We go around the casino and we look for the most biased shoe we can find, because that's the table where we can win the most money. And, you know, if it's a choppy table, we're going to play system 40, and if it's a neutral table, we're going to play OTB4L, and if it's streaky, we're going to play F. Now, it's always betting that the opposite side is going to win until a straight run comes along. And then it'll go on a straight run after the run has gone either 3 or 4. We call those modes. Sometimes most of the runs go at least 3, sometimes they go at least 4. But we have a way of knowing which mode is best called the third bet rule. We use the third bet rule to tell us which mode we should play a system in. So basically, we're asking you to learn 3 different systems, and they're all very simple. I mean, you could teach these systems to a 6-year-old. They're very, very simple. You're taught 3 different systems, and for each system, you're taught 2 different modes. And that is pretty much it for as far as NOR is concerned. We teach you how to do your scorecard, how to arrange your scorecard, how to keep score. And by the way, we keep a running score. You see these people in the casino where their chips are all over the place. We keep our chips in known quantity piles. We like to keep our chips in piles of 12 because you always want to know exactly where you stand, and you always want to make sure that your chips agree with the score on your scorecard. You want to make sure the guy next to you isn't stealing your chips, for instance. But that's basically how we play NOR. Out of all of our members, virtually all of them are winning players except the newest members. And the newest members will be winning players before long. We have players that play all the way up to $5,000 units. So we have some real heavy hitters, and we also have players who bet as little as possible. They're just in it for the fun of it, for a night out. They want to play $5 units. We don't care how much you bet. Nobody even talks about what size units they play. We talk about how many units you won. We don't talk about whether they were $5 units or $500 units. Nobody really cares about how big a player you are or how small a player you are. You'll find that our forum is the friendliest forum on the internet. Everybody helps everybody else, especially the guys particularly like to help new members, because when you start out not knowing anything, it's nice to have the other members rooting for you and helping you out, helping you learn the basics of how to play baccarat. So once you learn NOR and you've got that down pat, we go to a system called NOR Plus, and it's pretty much the same thing, except we use a more aggressive progression. We use what is called an up 1, down 2. It's up 1 when you lose, down 2 when you win. And you're
Hey, Alex, can we do an example of like the first three here, how we bet opposites using a negative progression, and what the bets would be on the first sequence there, so they get an understanding. Okay, go ahead.
The first play was a player, so system 40 is going to bet opposites, so it would bet 1 unit on bank. Now, it wins that bet, so then it would bet an opposite again, so it would bet 1 unit on player, and it wins that bet. So now you're up 2. Now it's going to bet another opposite, so with that 1 unit on bank, it would lose. It would bet 2 units on bank, it would lose. It would bet 3 units on bank, and it would win. So now you're still up 2 units. Then it would bet an opposite again, 1 unit on player. It would lose, so now it's going to bet 2 units on player, and it's going to win. So now what is that? You're up 3 or 4 units. It's an idea of how you play System 40.
Yeah, you're always betting a negative progression on offense.
Yeah, we're betting a 1, 2, 3, and sometimes a 4. A lot of the guys will only play at 3 high. The regular system calls for a 4 bet, but it's up to you. You don't have to bet the 4 bet if you don't want to. It isn't necessary. It's just depending on whether you want to play the full system or a limited version of it. Some of our players never bet more than 2 units, and they do just fine, never betting more than 2 units.
That's the beauty of 40 is that it wins the most common event, which is 1 in a row.
Yeah, there's just as many 1 in a rows as there is everything else put together. So 1 in a rows are half of all events, and System 40 wins every 1 in a row. So on average, you've already won half of the plays in the game just by half of the events in the game just by winning a 1 in a row. But you win 1 unit on a 1 in a row, and you win 1 unit on a 2 in a row, and there's half as many 2s. 2s is the next most common event. There's half as many 2s as there are 1s, and then it breaks even on a 3 in a row. But then we can get into Nor Plus and the up, 1, down 2 progression, which can even win on 4 in a rows and 5 in a rows, and so forth. We teach it. We start out slow and we build your game gradually. You advance from 1 level to the next level. You get 1 level down pat, then advance to the next level, and then the next level. And you can get to the point where you can win every single trip that you make. Many of our players win every trip. Not every shoe, mind you. You're always going to have losing shoes, but you can win every session, or you can win every trip that you make.
Ellis, can you elaborate on the OR count there? You kind of touched upon it, and explain the difference.
The OR count is very simple. We count +1 for an opposite and -1 for a repeat. It's just a running count. So if I was going to do an OR count here, it would go +1, 0, -1, 0, +1, 0, +1, 0. And,
any questions on how to count that?
We like the System 40. If we have a plus count, we usually play System 40. On the other hand, if the count keeps crossing 0, we usually play OT4L. And if we have a minus count, we play System F. and that usually gets you playing the right system in the right shoe to make money. It's as simple as that. As you go, you'll learn more sophisticated ways to choose your system. The OR count is just a good way to start. It's a good way to do it. It works pretty much every time. Later, we'll teach you more advanced ways to choose your system. Now, by the way, we also have NOR and we have NOR Plus, which I mentioned, but we also have NOR 4D, which we say you can achieve a 95% win rate. Now, many of our members say it's much closer to 100% playing NOR 4D. It's a little more sophisticated. For the 4D, it has a player bank count, it has an OR count, it has an OT count, and it has a double T count. These are all +1, -1 counts. Very, very simple to do. But it sort of takes a game and shows you exactly how to play that particular shoe the best way. And that's why we say it's pretty easy to achieve a 95% win rate. And by the way, our stop loss with the 4D is only 4 units. So 4 units is the most that you can lose with that system. But you can get up to 10, 15, 20, 25 units a shoe on the winning side with the 4D. The thing is, it has the lowest loss rate of any system that there is. It's advanced system in the world, and that's what it thrives on, a very, very low loss rate. So it's really a very, very professional system. It's the type of system you'd want to play if you were going to play baccarat for a living full-time. You would want to eventually learn the 4D. That's the way you would play baccarat full-time. And we have some full-time players. Most of our players aren't. They're not really party players either. They're what I call advanced stuff like net betting. Net betting is something I developed back in the 90s, and it's a way to bet less money overall, yet win more money. It's like playing with a partner, except you don't need a partner. You can do you can be your own partner. That's how you net bet. You're actually your own partner, and you win as much as 2 people would normally win, but you're only betting half as much as 1 person would normally bet. So net betting is a very clever way to bet less money and win more money. That's one of the things we'll teach you along with the 4D. And you can get as sophisticated as you want to get, or you can just stick with basic NOR. Some of our players prefer to just stick with basic NOR. They don't want to get all that involved. Other players that we have, they want to be the best there is. Thank you. Okay, we got her. I don't know really what else I can tell you about it. I'll tell you this, that all of our members put together, they've tried everything on the market, and they're all sticking with us. They all say the same thing, that we're by far the most advanced that there is. We have the only winning players, so they end up sticking with us after trying everything else.
Okay, Ellis, I have the forum up. Can you see it there? I thought maybe we'd show the private forum and some of the posts or something and take a look at some. Can you see what I have up there? Perhaps we can take a look at it.
Here's the NOR forum right here. And if we go over here, the last post written, is the Too High progression by Norm Allen. Now, Norm, a $5,000 unit player, and he plays too high. He never bets more than 2 units. But Norm wins a ton of money. He wins more money than most of us make for a living by far.
One of the things I want to show everybody too is these are all more players here, members who have read this thread. These are 81 guys who are players, and one of the things about our forum is we talk to each other all the time. We all get to know each other, so you're never left alone. There isn't a whole lot to talk about in baccarat once you understand the progressions and whatnot, but we just keep tweaking this, and this is where it all happens. This is the NOR forum. There are more people in the NOR forum than there are in the public forum. So this is where all the action is. This is where you post everything that you want to find out about NOR. Is right in here. And you can see all the posts and all the replies. So if you have any question, there's always somebody who's available to answer the question or go play with you.
Nobody gets left behind. If a person isn't understanding something, we'll work with him until he does understand it. Nobody gets left behind on our forum. And also on our forum, there's no such thing as a dumb question. No such thing as a dumb question. And it's the friendliest forum you could ever be on.
And then also, too, here's the new 4D forum where we just started. I mean, not to belabor this point, but you can see in the NOR forum, we got 5,800 posts of 384 threads from all our members. But right now, between these two forums, here's the 4D forum, and I'm sure some of the members can attest to this. Right here is our first 4D when we first started purchasing, playing about 4D going. You can see the views. There's 5,700 times. And you can see that we're in here playing every day. There's players who are putting out reports, and we're tweaking our information every day. So what I have up here is our analyzer that one of our members actually made, for the 4D. So, like I said, you're never left behind. I don't know, maybe some of our players can speak up now, or does anybody have any questions or any comments or anything that we can answer about NOR? Okay, I see a question in chat. Let me see. What is the shoe start with a plus and become minus at the second half? What is the shoe start with? A plus and becomes minus the second half shoe. So I think the question is, Ellen, what happens if the shoe starts minus
plus and ends up minus? Well, that happens. It's pretty rare, but you change right with it. Like if it started plus, you might go with 40. If it wasn't very plus, you would probably go with OTB4L. But 40 can handle minus counts. But OTB4L handles them a little better. Like, for instance, let's say a shoe the count went from +5 to -5. You'd probably want to be playing OTB4L in that shoe. On the other hand, let's say it went from 0 to -10. You'd want to be playing F. Or if it went from 0 to +8, you'd want to be playing 40. But no matter what the count does, there's a way to play that count effectively.
Okay. Good. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, Tang, please ask again. The other question, Ellis, is what is OT count and double zero?
The OT is...
I think you're talking about this and then this one, the OT and OOTT.
Okay, OT is OTB4L versus TB4L. That's opposite time before last versus time before last. And double OT, with time before last, you're going back 2 plays ago. You're betting that whatever won 2 plays ago is going to win again. With the double OT, you're going back 3 plays ago. You're saying that the shoe's going to repeat what it did 3 plays ago. Now, a given shoe may do one of those things, and may do both of those things, and it may do neither of those things. But what our count tells us is that shoe following, which count is the shoe following the best? Because that's the count we're gonna play. Now there we're starting to get into 4D logic. You don't really have to know any of that stuff for NOR, but once you learn NOR, you'll probably want to learn the 4D. It's just a more accurate way of playing. I'm going to tell you that NOR is the most accurate way out there, except for the 4D. That's actually more accurate even than NOR.
Okay, so we got a couple other questions here. What about having a software program to show how to play or practice? Well, we do, Bobby. We do have a couple of spreadsheets that are programmed in Excel, but we try to gather our cards from the casino rather than simulate them in a random numbers generator, which really makes all the difference in the world. We have real shoes rather than everybody's posting real shoes. Alex, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, you really don't want to practice with a random generator because casinos favor OTB4L. And the reason they favor OTB4L is nobody in the world knows that system, and they lose to that type of shoe. So we play OTB4L more than System 40 or System F because most casino shoes favor OTB4L because that's where the casinos make the most money, except when we're playing, because we know how to play that type of shoe. In fact, we did a 10,000 shoe test where we just played OTB4L. And I told you that there's no mechanical system that beat baccarat. Well, we played our OTB4L system in a 10,000 actual real casino shoes, and it actually won by, if we use up, one, down, 2, it won with a 7% player advantage. And if we bet it up, 1, down, 1, it won with a 34% player advantage. But that's only because the casinos favor that shoe type. They try.
Okay, John asked a question, Ella. He wants to know, are newly shuffled cards usually OTB4? You mean OTB4L, John? Opposite time before last. John, new cards. What are we seeing with new cards lately?
Brand new cards. Like, I like to play new cards. I play new cards at Gold Strike and Tunica all the time because they never favor F. They're always going to favor primarily OTB4L and secondarily System 40. It's going to be one or the other. So you've ruled out one of the systems for new cards. It just makes it much easier to play brand new cards. To give you an idea, I never had a losing session for 3 years playing new cards at Gold Strike Tunica. And, I would switch maybe now and then between OTB4L and 40, but most of the time I just played OTB4L. And that's because casinos are trying to shuffle the cards to favor OTB4L. So when you're playing new cards, it's right after the card prep. They're going to prep for OTB4L because that's where they do the best.
Okay. So I got a question. John, he said thank you. I answered it, but are the systems effective with online gaming? You know, I don't personally play it, and Ellis doesn't much. There are some players who do play it, but mostly they play
a lot of our players play online. However, the secret of playing online is to only play live online casinos.
Right. With the
because
camera.
You're getting dealt yeah, everything's done on camera. You're watching the whole game dealt out on camera rather than, as opposed to cards just coming out of a random generator. Those are fine. A lot of our guys only play online.
Do you have to go searching for a hot table, or can I sit at any table and play?
With the 4D, you can sit at any table. You don't have to do any table search at all. But with NOR, you're better off to look for the most biased table you can find at the casino. You can do a table search of the whole casino. I mean, even if you're in Vegas and it's big casinos, you can do a table search in 5 minutes. And I can go with you and I can tell you which shoe to play. After you've done it a couple times, you'll know which table to play also. It's not that hard to do.
And also, too, you know, searching for a hot table is usually hot tables are people who are playing repeats. So, long streaks.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You very seldom see a hot table or someone where someone is betting up as you win with opposites. I mean, people just don't play that way, nor do they know it, nor do they play negative progression. So, how do I know if it's biased OR count? Well, you know, sometimes it's, well, go ahead, Ellis. I'll let you.
What was the question?
How do you know if it's a biased count or if it's just a random high count? You don't.
Well,
either way you win.
If it favors plus, okay, it's biased toward system 40. If it favors minus, it's, in other words, you're seeing more in your count. You're seeing more minus signs than plus signs. If it favors minus, then it favors system F. But if it's crossing 0, it's not favoring plus or minus. It's going back and forth across 0. Then it's favoring OTB4L.
Okay. Any other questions? You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. Good. Okay, so Alice, you want to tell here? I didn't, you know. Hopefully, we gave you some insight into you know what we're all about. You can see we all kind of get along. I mean, quite honestly, as I look at the participants list, Brendan Mendoza, Devin, John. If I miss anybody,
maybe one of the members would like to.
Robert. Robert, you always like to bust off. What do you think?
Hey, Keith. Maybe one of the members would like to mention how he feels about the forum.
Yeah. Robert?
I think the forum's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Anytime I need an answer, a quick answer, I type it in, and Ellis gets back to me probably within an hour. I mean, I don't think you could find any place like this in the world. I mean, I don't know. How does anyone else feel?
There's a couple other players. So.
Anytime I ask you anything, you get back to me within an hour on the forum. It's great.
Bobby's been scammed so many times with other systems. Well, you know, the thing with us is that we all have our phone numbers, we all have our other players, and just last week we all met at the Sands Casino. You know, we go to Vegas. We got one coming up in Vegas on the 5th. We play with players. You can talk to other players. So, we all get to know each other. So,
by the way, just about every one of our members was scammed at one time or another before they came with us. We talk about that freely.
Yeah, it's a rough gig. I understand that. So, but I'll be in Vegas on the 18th for one day. We're going out to try to get something going with some folks in Macau and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. But we do have another seminar coming up on the 5th in Vegas. But again, we're always online. Everyone gets everybody's phone number, and the forum is always there. And the difference with us is you can always talk to the other players.
You can talk to them in public, or you can talk to them in private.
Talk to them in private. That's the big difference. Is if everyone wasn't doing well, we wouldn't all be talking to each other. So.
And there's no rules. You can say anything.
There's no rules. Yeah, you can talk to anyone. So, there you go. So anyway, I did kind of want to just we did. Let me get this other slide up here. I know we have a hard stop at 9. How much OR count is considered biased? Well, statistically, I guess it's a trend is.
It isn't so much. It isn't so much how far the count goes. Is it consistently plus, or is it consistently minus, or is it consistently going back and forth between plus and minus? Sometimes your count will go to 7 and it'll be a great game, and sometimes it'll go to 27 and that'll be a greater game, but we don't care if the count only goes to 3. It's still biased. Every shoe that was ever dealt has a bias of one type or another to it. Our job is to find that bias and play the right system, the system that matches that bias. And by the way, if you make a mistake, it'll become, in other words, you don't pick the right system, it'll become apparent right away, and your account will tell you what system you should be playing, what system you should switch to.
Let's see, we got a couple more questions. The one guy playing 40 wants to switch to Nor. That's no problem. Shoot me an email. If you had one choice, would you go with baccarat or blackjack? This is baccarat players in here. Blackjack takes a little bit more thought. It's a little bit more subjective, I guess. Ellis, what would you think?
Well, you almost got to be insane to study enough to become a really good blackjack player. But a lot of people, including me, are that insane, But baccarat it's more for the average person. The average person can learn it. Blackjack requires hours and hours. Yes, you can win more money in blackjack, but it requires tremendous amount of practice and a tremendous amount of study. I teach both, so I don't care which you prefer.
How do you come up with your systems? We've been playing together and started our forum when the internet first came out for probably 30 years, haven't we, Alan? I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes they come to me in my sleep. I end up playing baccarat shoes in my sleep, and
Ellis is taught mathematics in college.
I'm a retired
statistics professor, and I have statistics degree. I think the thing is we're real players, so that's the difference. So, okay, one last one. Look, if you do want to join us, here you go. It's good for 24 hours. If you put in seminar, you can get $50 off. So for attending the seminar. So Once you click on if you go to the site, you click on the NOR, right up here at the top of any page. Right here it is, NOR Baccarat Manual and Forum Access. You just click on that, like I'm showing you. You put in seminar here, and it's good for 24 hours. If you click Update Cart, it'll give you a $50 discount. There you go. So if you're interested, please join us. You get the manual, but most important, you get the updated information, and we're going to throw in 4D until December 31st. So you can see how much 4D is to the players in Macau. So if you want to grab it quick here, now's the chance. So any other closing thoughts, Ellis, that you want to mention?
Well, keep.
You can flat that.
The guys you should ask is the other members on the forum, and they'll all tell you the same thing. This is an excellent investment.
Yeah. Why not just flat bet the most? Your bankroll can handle. That's what Norm pretty much is a proponent of. Evan, he pretty much flat bets thousands, and sometimes he plays for 5,000 a hand. So he's a big proponent of that, and you could do that. I mean, that's fine. So, okay. Any other last thoughts or questions here so we can end on time?
Comment? Any comment?
Any comments? Thanks, Brandon. If there's anything else, shoot us an email or post on the forum, on the public forum, or join us. We're always available.
Or send us a private message.
Send us a private message, whatever.
System. Use our private message system.
Yeah.
If you want.
All right. Well, you have our number. I'll give you Ellis's number here. There's Ellis's number. There's my number. Give us a buzz tomorrow if you have any further questions or, you're interested in any clarification. So, all right, so I think we're going to wrap it up, and then we'll see everybody later. If you do join, great. If not, we'll see you on the public forum